my rubbing alcohol and my toothbrush and possibly some Q-tips. So we're going to zoom in real quick, focus on the board, square the shot, and then zoom back out. So I'm going to keep it right about there. And I'm just going to do a quick, easy brushing of the board to loosen up all this dust that's on the board. Most likely I won't even have to wash most of the board down because of the fact that the dust just will come right off and it will leave it pretty shiny. But in the area, this area over here, I've never seen a acid leak outside of this area. It's this post right here. When the board's screwed in and it causes the board to kind of tilt a little bit, and so the leaks always spread out this way and come down that way. So I've never seen them outside of this area right here, and I've probably seen 200 motherboards with leaking capacitors, maybe even more than that. So I'll get the rest of this cleaned up real quick, and then I will clean the rest of it up with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and then I'll flip it over and do the same on the other side. And I'm really not pushing hard on this. I mean, I could hold it with 2 fingers, and that's as much pressure as I'm using. You don't want to do it hard because there's parts on here that, you know, if you bump them too hard, you might break one of the legs off or pop one of the chips off the board, or these really small ones, I've seen these pop right off. Usually you won't ever damage, you know, the main chips on the board, but, you know, the capacitors and everything else, you have to be careful around. But it only takes a few minutes to brush down the board, get most of the dust off of it. And this will help prolong the life of the board, as dust that settles on the components will end up overheating the components, which will shorten the life of your system. So now we're going to put a little bit of rubbing alcohol on the area of the board. This is 91. I recommend 91 or 95 because it has a lot less water to dry off afterwards. And we're just going to scrub all the components in that little arc area that I told you about. We're going to try to get the board as clean as possible. A lot of the times, this whole bank of chips right here will end up totally corroded from the acid, but fortunately that has not happened here. But we will get this all cleaned up, get that excess acid off the board, and then we'll do a quick rinse. So on the back of the board, looking at traces, I don't see any damage. There's a little corrosion spot right there, but it's super tiny. It should be good. And just clean up this area right here from the spillover possible. And then we will rinse that off also. pat this side down. And then pat the other side down in the areas where I can. Just get the excess moisture off. Be careful not to bend anything. Just kind of stick your fingers down in the area and touch the board, and that's enough to dry up most of the liquid. And then you want to let this dry in front of a fan for a little while.